The views expressed in this video are not necessarily the views of anyone, but are most likely the views of me. If you, or someone you know, was offended by this video, or you're beginning to question your sexuality, please click the like button below. Enjoy.
What's going on, guys? This is a follow-up video for the previous video that I did. The previous video was covering the details of the upcoming possible gun ban in America. And this video is just a follow-up because I didn't have a whole lot of time at the end of the other video to really say anything, because, listing off all the details really took up the majority of the video time. So, let's jump right into this. Just a little recap. In 1994, there was what was known as the Clinton gun ban. That banned a lot of characteristics of all weapons, handguns, shotguns, rifles, whether they're assault rifles or hunting rifles, so on and so forth. And the new gun ban it's coming up because the Clinton gun ban is coming to the point where it's going to be 20 years, and that was the extent of it. It was only a 20-year ban. But this one is written by the same lady, and she's just fucking shit up more. This one's a lot more restrictive than the one before, and all this is due to the rather recent school shootings, namely the Sandy Hook school shooting horseshit. And I actually point that one out specifically, not for giving the guy fame or whatever the hell, but that one specifically because whenever that happened, some little survivor shitlins sent letters to President Obama, explaining how much of a tragedy it was for them and all that shit. And so because of that, now he's very openly backing the whole gun ban, because he was touched by the little kids. If you ask me, he touched the little kids. Basically, when it comes down to it, you can fight it with the same fight and argument that's been going for the last 20, 30 years. Second Amendment gives, our citizens the right to bear arms. But the only thing about that is, that's basically the extent. I mean, we're given the right to bear arms. Just real quick. Yes. We're given the right to bear arms to provide protection from oppression from our own government. I mean, that's actually one of George Washington's quotes. Not word for word, but that was something he had said, basically. We the people, or you the people, whatever the fuck, people are allowed to have guns to protect themselves from whoever may oppress them, whether it's their own government or another government or whatever else. But, this gun ban, all it is, it's oppression. It's oppression, and it's our government trying to enforce control on us. So we let them go ahead with this gun ban, like we voted in the other gun ban. If we vote in this gun ban, who says it stops here? Who says it stops at our guns? If we do get our guns taken away, we have other ways of protecting ourselves if need be. We have tasers, fucking mace, CF spray, I think is the other name for it, whatever you want to call it. We have various little ways, knives, but none of those really, help much. But who's to say, like I said, who's to say it stops at guns? Today it's our guns, tomorrow it's our pepper spray, next day it's our tasers, next day it's our knife, next thing you know, you wake up one morning, it's not even legal to go to your local sporting goods store or whatever and buy a baseball bat because, some kid decided to go into a school or a mall or some other public place where there's a lot of people, and he went on a mass killing spree with a baseball bat. Because of one person's decisions and what he wants to do and how he did it, we as citizens of this country are forced to endure and be oppressed by somebody else's decisions. Why? The FBI actually reports, and this is legitimate here, the FBI reports that there are more violent murders, I'm saying that specifically, because this is what they said, there are more violent murders that are committed every year by blunt objects, knives, or fists than there are firearms. That's the FBI. They seem like a believable group. You take away our guns, you take away our liberties, you take away our safety, you take away our peace of mind. I, for one, feel a lot safer if I have a gun in my house, you know, to home invasion and shit like that, as opposed to if I didn't. Like, in recent news here, right around where I live, a 24-year-old, I believe, woman got shot in her own home during a home invasion by two perpetrators who ran after that. They didn't kill her. You know, no mortal wounding, no serious condition. No, they just shot her in the legs. That's no big deal. Well, it's a big deal, but it's not as bad as it could have been. So, I mean, she didn't have a gun. If she had a gun, don't you think that would have went down a lot differently? You can't, well, you can by a legal standpoint, but you shouldn't take away a person's right to own guns. Because, I mean, we've had guns for centuries. We've had guns in our homes for centuries. I mean, that was how we fended off, you know, the first attacks and shit whenever the immigrants came over here and was taking the land from the Indians and everything. That was how they fended off the Indian attacks, you know, and even past that, like, that's something I don't support. I am Native American partially. But even past that, for hundreds of years, it's how we've protected ourselves. And because some people choose to take our ability to protect ourselves and turn it into the ability to harm people, one small, minuscule percentage of people do this, and the rest of the country is affected by it. And in more ways than one. I'm not just talking about, you know, the sadness, the tragedy, all that shit. I'm talking about just because some kid fucking falls off his rocker and goes and shoots a bunch, you know, a few people, the rest of the country, parts of the country that weren't even anywhere near it, which is pretty much the entirety of the country, except for wherever it happens, has to be affected in the long run. Short run, long run, whole 9 yards. It's unconstitutional, honestly, for lack of better terminology, because it is unconstitutional. We are protected by the Second Amendment, and they're wanting to repeal it. You know, something that's been part of our country since the beginning of our, you know, the initial beginning of our country in 1776 when the Declaration of Independence was signed. That was part of the Constitution, part of the Bill of Rights, the whole 9 yards. That was something we've been allowed to do, is own firearms. And for whatever reason, I mean, if you want to crack down on shit like that, instead of taking guns away from people, why don't you, you know, make it harder for people that might do that to get the guns, rather than make it harder for people who are actual law-abiding citizens and use the guns for self-protection from those kinds of people. You know, like, make it to where you have to have a psychological background check when you turn 18, because 18 is the legal age to own a firearm, whether it's a rifle or a shotgun, and 21 for handguns. So when you turn 18, make it, you know, make it to where you have to have psychological background checks just to, you know, make sure you're all right up here. And, or do something like you have to have a psychological background check every time you purchase a weapon, whether it's from a pawn shop, whether you're purchasing it from a store. You know, have some documentation from, you know, recent documentation from a psychiatrist or a therapist or something of that sort to say that, you know, you're mentally okay. Because, I mean, that right there would cut down on a lot of this shit. But it's the media and the propaganda that's selling all this. Seriously, think about it. You will hear about school shootings. You will hear about people doing stupid shit with guns. You will not hear about somebody protecting their lives, their family's lives with guns. You won't hear about somebody breaking into a house and that person owning a gun and being able to use that to protect themselves, their property, their family. But you will hear about some dipshit little whack job who decides to pick up a gun one day and go into a school or a mall or a government building or something like that and kill people. You know, when it comes down to it, like people have been saying for a long time, guns don't kill people. People kill people. Because the gun is not going to load itself and point it at somebody and pull its own trigger. It takes a person to do that. So taking guns away from people is not going to do anything, because people that are intending to do bad things with guns are going to find guns to do what they want to with. By putting gun laws forth, all you're going to do is make it harder for people who actually need the guns or want the guns for proper use, hunting, self-preservation, so on and so forth. It's going to make it harder for them to have them. And where I'm from, guns are a big part of the people, really. You know, there's people around here that have guns that their grandparents had, that their great-grandparents had, guns that have been passed down through the generations. It's something they keep. With these new gun laws, they're not going to be able to do that anymore. Why? What is so wrong with passing a gun on? What is so wrong about, you know, my great-grandfather bought this gun so many years ago, you know, whenever he was whatever age, and it's been passed down through the generations. Yeah, that's something that would naturally stay in the family. What is wrong about that? But for some reason they see that as something that needs to be stopped. You know, you have to register your guns, and it's going to cost you $200 per gun to register it. And then whenever you die, like you have to hang on to that weapon through your life. You cannot sell it or anything like that. And when you die, it's automatically forfeited to the United States government. No, I won't do that. If it comes down to it, I just won't register my guns. I'll own a gun illegally if I have to. But I'm not going to have some fucking overzealous government telling me what I can and cannot own in my own home. Especially if that weapon is used for my own self-preservation. So, what's the point of taking guns away from people that need them, that use them properly? This country is founded, it's survived, it's flourished under the ownership of guns. It's the only thing that keeps us safe from, not only from people in our own country, but from people from other countries. If it wasn't for so many people in the United States owning guns, we would have been invaded a long time ago, because honestly, despite our military prowess, our military advancements, our military is not going to be enough to keep China out. Because if China decides to invade, if we don't have our guns on our coastal cities all over the United States, it's game over for us. 2 weeks and we're all going to be walking around saying ching chang chong. When it comes down to it, you want my gun? Take it from my cold dead fingers. Now, I'm going to leave an annotation at the end of the video, so shortly here. Be a clickable invitation, or take you to the video that has the details about this upcoming gun ban. Also, if you agree with my views here, click the like button below. Give me a subscription if you want to too, because I'm putting out these videos as much as I can on as many topics as I can possibly think of. If you have an idea for a video, some topic you want me to cover, leave me a comment. Let me know. See you later.